How can I get pregnant naturally if I have endometriosis? My doctor said I should go ahead and schedule an IVF consult now. I bet they did. Western medicine doesn't understand endometriosis as well as Eastern medicine does. So in Western medicine, and I remember my doctor telling me this more than 20 years ago, that they don't know why it happens. They don't know why it happens to certain people. They don't know what to do to prevent it from coming back after they go in and cut off the extra adhesions and lesions that have grown, etc. They also told me it would be very difficult to get pregnant naturally. Both of my kids, I did conceive naturally. So it is definitely possible to get pregnant naturally if you have a diagnosis of endometriosis. That's the first thing I want to say. The reason that I am so confident in this, aside from the fact that I did it myself, is that this is a very common thing that happens with a lot of women who come into my fertility group. The endometriosis diagnosis or suspected endometriosis diagnosis is one of the most common things that we deal with. So in Eastern medicine, we know that mostly it's caused by a pattern of imbalance called liver blood stasis. So to confirm that suspicion, we of course would look at all of the signs and symptoms from your period, your cycle, other signs and symptoms throughout the month. Maybe you get migraine headaches right before your period. Generally, though, we look at the period itself. So the nature of your cycle is going to be maybe irregular, but when you do get your period, it's probably going to be marked by really, really intense cramps. And the blood itself is going to be really dark colored. So it can be anywhere from like a dark maroonish red to purples to almost black looking. And you'll likely have clots. So we really shouldn't have clots in the period blood. And again, there's a lot more information in my Cultivate Fertility Program in the fertile cycles section about exactly what we are looking for in an ideal period. But really, we shouldn't have dark blood. We shouldn't have clots in the period blood. We shouldn't have intense cramps. None of that should be considered normal or that you have to live with that. It's almost always caused by these underlying patterns of imbalance like blood stasis. So once we work with you to resolve your blood stasis, then all of those cramps go away, the clots go away, the blood becomes a more fresh red color, and your periods get easy, which I know, again, as someone who had terrible endometriosis, terrible cramps, that it's hard to believe that my period would ever be not just regular, but also easy when I did get it. But those are the types of wins that we're doing that I'm seeing in my Cultivate Fertility group with women all the time. So it is possible. And it is something that you should expect progress with. So don't be told that it's a dead end diagnosis. Don't be told that there's nothing you can do about endometriosis. And don't be told that if you do go ahead and have some of the procedures to remove the adhesions and lesions, at least, that it will just grow back. We don't have to accept those statements. We teach you things to do at home on your own that can resolve your long-standing blood stasis imbalance and thus prevent that from coming back or from worsening. So should you go down the road towards IVF and have your consult, you can learn more about what that would look like. What I will caution you is to keep in the back of your mind that doing IVF does not improve your fertility. It doesn't improve your health, and it certainly leaves your hormones in a state of disarray or worse than when you started in most cases. So by not addressing the underlying imbalance, the blood stasis that caused the endometriosis, and subverting that and using IVF, you're still dealing with the blood stasis in all the other ways that it impacts your body, including your fertility and reproductive health. So after you do the IVF procedures, you can do a successful egg retrieval. Maybe you're doing a successful embryo transfer even. Great. But if you have blood stasis as your long-term pattern of imbalance, that can make growing a placenta difficult. That can make growing a nourishing, thick uterine lining difficult. That can make blood circulation to the growing baby challenging. So when we use assisted reproductive technologies like IUI or IVF, it's always helpful to keep in mind, what is that actually doing? Which part of the challenge is that addressing? Is it getting pregnant? Is it staying pregnant? Is it addressing the underlying challenges that caused those issues or not? Is it essentially a giant expensive Band-Aid? A really good one if you get your baby that way, of course. And there's a lot of couples that I work with who have to use IVF because they're missing a structural part, or same-sex couples are using IVF often. There are lots of reasons to use IVF or other assisted reproductive technology, but I just want you to be informed about what you're really consenting to so that you know what you're really choosing. If you can go the route of addressing the underlying pattern of imbalance that's caused things like your endometriosis, that's a better route in the long run for your health and your overall reproductive health and fertility outcomes. And by learning how to keep your blood stasis resolved and away, Not only do you not need to expect endometriosis to return, but you also can expect to be able to get pregnant on your own down the road if you want to have another child in a few years. Because you've taken the steps to address things long term and at the actual root of the problem, not just in a temporary way. So, a lot of what I'm teaching you in the Cultivate Fertility program is how to assess yourself for anytime that those patterns of imbalance try to start creeping back into your life. Maybe you've gotten a little bit lax with the practices that I've taught you to do. And in a couple of years, you start to notice, oh my gosh, my tongue is looking purple again, or my veins underneath my tongue are really full of blood again, or I'm getting those purple and red dots up the sides of my tongue again. These are all signs that liver blood stasis is creeping back into your life. So, by learning to look at your tongue on a regular basis and to kind of just monitor loosely your cycle and see, are my cramps worsening? Are my clots returning again? All these easy ways that we can read our own body's clues for the information about our fertility and our fertility imbalances. This will all become part of your second nature, things that you'll do on your own long after you've finished with my program and my work.